of medical professions and businesses into becoming tremendously successful and efficient. Personally, I'm fortunate enough to experience Andy as a mentor, as well as to interact with some of the successful NDs that have followed his advice. And I can say that his unique insights are immensely helpful, and they definitely will help shape you as a successful ND in the future. So, and I'll let him take over from there.
Thanks, Dustin. And anybody that knows me, success comes from what we do with information, not just how we take notes. So primary rule, be a note applicator, not a note taker. So what Dustin has shared, and I'll just give you a quick little additional overview. I began with the naturopathic profession in 1987, so it's 34 years and counting. My passion is this profession. I had the opportunity when I finished university, took economics, logistical administration at McGill, and broadcast journalism here in Barrie and Georgian College. That's how I ended up here. I had the opportunity to train and get mentored by someone who took my linear to more of an open mind and definitely developed my intuition. He ended up getting sick and he ended up passing away. But the night before he passed away, when I was visiting him, he was with his very best friend at that time. His name was Dr. Anton Engard, who was a naturopathic doctor himself and sadly had passed away a number of years ago. He said to his friend, "You were right, I worked on my mind and not my body." And as I stated, he passed away the next morning. He was 51 years old when he passed away. More importantly, he was my father, and I've dedicated my life with what I have to the people who are passionate about improving health. As you see the diagram of heroes, first of all, heroes represents helping everyone realize opportunities. I believe in win, 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 win. Everyone can win. The health provider, the owner, the patient, the community, society, everyone can win. And I believe there are strategies to literally make that happen. There's two areas of business, and I want you to separate these. Over this next hour, you're going to hear about one of those hats, and I want you to put those on right now, even if it's imaginary. It's the business of health hat. There is the health of business and the business of health. And we need to take a look at the health of business. You're all going to be phenomenal health providers. To me, that's a given. What we have to do is to figure out how can we match some of those passions with the area that we're talking about today. Business is not sexy. It's not something that gets people excited. You didn't go into this with the goal of running business for most people. We didn't go into this to be able to build our entrepreneurial skills. We went into this because of passion to help a lot of people improve their health. Unfortunately, this aspect in the entire health industry, even if you're an employee, does come involved. It can be subtle, it can be direct, it's impactful, it does make differences. So developing your entrepreneurial skills, I believe, are really important. So our mission is to help everyone realize the opportunities with the philosophy of tackle the challenges of today, plan for the gifts of tomorrow, understand the lessons of yesterday. You are students. I got it. You can be first year all the way to just fourth year. You will be graduating. And when you do, you come in to my world. And my world is mastering and mapping and strategizing all your skills combined in both the health of business and the business of health. And the more proactive you get, it will make a difference. I promise you. And that's something that I've talked to Dawson about. And what we want to be able to do is to prepare before we graduate. I get from students, and I've lectured at all the naturopathic schools. I was in the curriculum at all the schools. I taught at CCNM, the business class, for a number of years. I have lectured throughout, and I know this profession. I know its strength and I know its weakness. And the more proactive you can address this area, there is time, even if it's only an hour a week that you allocate specifically to this particular area, will make a significant difference. Upon graduation, it is often stated and is widely understood that your education in the business of health is going to cost a minimum $50,000 plus within the first 2 to 5 years. You're going to learn every lesson. You're going to learn every lesson. My belief is what you've shared with me about being proactive is I need you to also take a look at this area and get proactive. So in this particular section, we're going to cover all the broad basics that I feel will make a difference. These is not information that is theoretical. It's not classroom, it's real. Today, I've been on the call with doctors in California, another one in Texas who just graduated, another doctor in Alberta who's been in practice for 17 years. The principles are real. So what we're going through today is not a classroom, it's real life. So overall, there are 10 points for you to take charge. Number one, know your health market inside and out, today and the future. So I'm going to share something with you. I've been with this profession for a long time, and I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to say it's our time. This is literally the beginning of an incredible change in what's happening in the health industry. The other thing that I see with a lot of students, and none of this is meant with any disrespect, it is met with compassion, passion, and incredible love for an incredible profession. As I said, I often call this my profession is my family. So that being said, the industry is going to go through a shift. The whole health industry is about to evolve. I recognized in 2016 that there was an evolving health consciousness movement. More people are shifting to more holistic health. It's not about naturopathic health, just specifically, it's about holistic health. It is truly the time where people want to balance the science and the nature. What you want to be able to do is bring both to the table. It's not confrontational. It's not what's wrong with others. It's not what's better than others. It is just what's happening. And no one has disagreed. We're in an evolving health consciousness movement. Number two, I believe because of everything that happens, definitely move towards a proactive health is going to be absolutely critical for those of you who want to be in the next wave of the health industry movement. It's not going to be about designations. It's going to be about the type of deliverables, the things you offer that can produce qualitative, quantitative, measurable results that literally will make a difference. So there is a movement. I think all of you agree. It's going to be holistic. Proactive health is literally where I believe the demand is going to be. The greatest market today, the greatest market evolving, what do you think it is? And see, that's a challenge I have with students. The students are really impacted and they have to focus on what they have to learn in order to make a difference. I got it. But you all got to take some time and listen to what's happening around you because we're going to fit the market, not necessarily come in and be completely clueless. You got to spend time paying attention. The health industry will be moving to more proactive. Do you think based on what we have and that proactive isn't going to be important? And we're not talking about prevention here. We're not mentioning that word because often prevention is associated with negative. If you do this, evil things will happen. Proactive is associated with positive. If you do these things, great things will happen. In a move towards holistic health, who do you think the industry is positioned to offer the greatest holistic model that's out there? And I'm not saying it just because I'm passionate about the profession. I'm saying if it, look at it. You have an incredible array of tools. What you have an opportunity, you can shift to more markets. Economists can actually state that out of all the health professions, the naturopathic should be the strongest because it can diversify. It can go from serious issues to not so serious issues. It is something that truly will be, in my opinion, more and more and more in demand. Society has proven the one thing that will destroy an economy will be economics, will be what? Health. What you want to understand is that you're in the greatest opportunistic market, entrepreneurially, that I have seen in 34 years. And it's moving and moving. And the single greatest market niche in that particular movement is women. Women have always taken the lead when it comes to health. 90% of clients of naturopathic doctors throughout Canada and the United States are women, and it's growing exponentially. So we have this whole evolving health consciousness movement. We have this whole movement where women are becoming the leaders of our world. So often when I talk to people and I talk to my health providers, said, number one, evolving health consciousness. Number two, a move towards more proactive health. Number three, we need to begin an education campaign called Health Fits. Number four, women are taking over the world, which focuses right down to busy women. Busy women are going to be the greatest market out there. And if you listen to all of that, and if you believe what I'm saying is true, you can begin preparing your model to be able to deliver. But if you don't pay attention to the market, you never know on how to position. What you may be passionate about may not be a want at this point. And that's what allows you to get started successfully. You need to master empowerment, motivation, inspirational communication skills. One thing that I find, you cannot be shy. Meeting people is part of the reality. I get asked, what is the number one strategy that I recommend in growing a practice? The number one strategy. That number one strategy is meeting people. Your challenge when you graduate, if you can get everything prepared before that day, your challenge will be then to meet 10 new people every single month. Be it social media, be it going out meeting live people. I'm old school. I still love to meet human beings. If you meet 10 people and you can empower them and motivate and inspire them, and it comes from how we interact with people, it will grow. It is absolutely not an issue. You can be successful by meeting real human beings. Number four is be efficient in the 7 primary systems, secondary systems, and what if. This is where logistics come in, and we're going to go through these different areas in a moment. There are 7 critical systems to master, and also take a look at how you can optimize in an EMR. Number 5, this concept of flow. There's 3 fundamental key principles when it comes to being successful. Talk to any health provider in any field, why they're successful, and I will measure it against three concepts. Number 1, outcome-based medicine. Really, really good at proving results. That's why we should have a rule. No one leaves the appointment without telling people how they've improved. It should be the last thing they leave out. Number 2, positive client experience. There are 6 stages, and we'll go through that shortly, that you get judged by. And what you want to do is to optimize the positive client experience in each. And number 3 is personalities. I like the doctor. The gatekeeper to any decision making is emotions. And if they like you, they will tell and come back and see more. So those are the 3 perspectives that you will see in any clinic that says they're busy is going to be checkmarked. Maximize curiosity and relationship in all 16 marketing tools. Yes, there are 16 marketing tools, and those marketing tools is linked into 2 unique marketing strategies. The problem with people in marketing is they throw things out there. They just try different things. You got to be more strategic with it. There are 2 basic marketing strategies. Number 1 is called creating curiosity, strategies for strangers. Number 2 is nurturing relationships, developing relationships with people that you know, and of course your clients. Everyone you know is a marketing agent. The number one strategy when I look at and work with doctors who are graduate or new is A, let's go meet 10 people. But number two, I have 10 clients. That's our starting point. How do we get every one of those clients to promote one other person in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months? That's the way to grow a practice. I've seen thousands and thousands of dollars being put in social media and very little in relationship building. Develop a financial communicator that's empowered. This area is about your finances. This is about knowing, understanding your books. It's about doing budgets. Recruit a team. Success comes with a cast of thousands. It's not just you. Internal team is an assistant, is staff people. External team is your accountant. It's the association. It's business coaches. It's your insurance agent. All of them are become part of your team. Number 9, strategic plans, check marks, benchmarks, everything. When people say, oh, we're going to do this, I go, by what day? I'm a huge fan of deadlines. And of course, number 10, the reason we do those top 9 is for number 10. You have a desire to help a lot of people. You have a desire to help a lot of people. Success comes in different terminologies for each one of them. But if you have student loans, if you have aspirations of owning a home, retiring, economics is part of it. Business is part of it. 4 basic pillars. This is primary. These are fundamental basics in this stuff. There are 4 different areas of which you got to establish a foundation and develop strategies. Operations is the area that does the work. Marketing is the area that brings in the work. Administration, the area that monitors the work. And leadership, the area that directs the work. Whenever you're learning, master skills in each one, and there's strategies in every single one of these to optimize them efficiently. There are things you can do. And I'll keep emphasizing, the more proactive you are in preparing yourself accordingly in these 4 pillars, the stronger the foundation, the taller the building, which means the stronger the knowledge, attitude, and skill, the more people you will help and also be rewarded accordingly. One other quick little point around this, the health year or the naturopathic year. We do have a cycle in this profession. There is a cycle to the profession. It doesn't go from January up until December. This cycle actually evolves as you become more and more successful. But to begin with, it goes from September to August. The health industry cycle goes from September to August. That's our fiscal year. You have September to December 15th is block number 1, of where October, November are deemed power months. You have December as block, December 15th to January 15th as block number 2. That's a slow period. And why? It's because of what? Christmas. When you're beginning, chronic care actually has an impact, well, to your revenue, but it also, at this time of year, it reduces. If you're totally acute care, people come you 365 days of the year. So you try to balance acute and chronic care, but it is a slower time. When it comes to taking care of ourselves, Christmas is not prime time. January 15th to June 15th is the 3rd block of where February, March, April will slow down a bit because of taxes. May has a pretty strong recovery. Is the biggest block, but also can represent 60 to 70% of total income for the year. June 15th to September 15th. And in that last block, you'll see it slow down during the summer. So how do you make your decisions? I'm going to negotiate for a contract. When you negotiate a contract and you graduate and, by September, you find you pass, you license, everything's great. January 1st is your launching point. And you prepare accordingly. Now, if you're proactive and you've gotten everything done, what you end up doing is that you then can accelerate that in October. The best times to begin anything new is just before the 2 top times, and that is September and January. It's amazing on how that information is not shared. I have people sign contracts in April of where then comes May, June, July, and August. And they're in a hole before they even have a start where the season begins. Now, as you become successful, you may find August is a great month. You know, I got people in pain management that August is great. I got other people that work with a lot of families. September is a massive power month. It does shift, but to begin with, decisions should be made based on a fiscal year that runs from September to August. It's powerful for inventory, powerful for insurances, powerful for decision makings of all kinds. How you market, how you present, how you know, what deliverables you're going to offer at what time. These are all the components that are incorporated within the hero strategy in building under operations, administrations, marketing, and leadership. And these you have to learn. When you learn these things, you strengthen up. This is just a little bit high end, but my background is logistics. It's where my passion is. There's a place for everything. Everything has a place. And what you see here are 4 overall, what I call logistical formulas, things to do. They're just a bunch of words, and they represent a success relationship. And the one that is really most important, really most important, and I'm circling it right here, is the treatment formula. The treatment formula goes methods divided by the tools equals results you can qualify, quantify, and measure. This is the most important homework entrepreneurially you can make. It is, I'm going to build something. It becomes the center. This is not about, folks, of what I'm going, saying, oh, I'm not going to be running my own clinic. No, you may be an associate in somebody else's clinic. You may be an employee in somebody else's clinic, and you're getting all of this as part of what's happening around you. So you just can't avoid this, because you may be laid off at a certain point, even though you may be working hard. And it's because maybe something's happening in the clinic and there's a downsizing. It happened to me. That's how I got into this, is that I got downsized and I said, I'm not going to do this again. So the treatment formula is the center, and you build everything around that. It is your deliverables. That's the word we use for what we offer. Method divided by tools and skills equal results that we can qualify, quantify, measure. Everyone I work with, everyone I help, they memorize this, because you need to identify the conditions you're going to provide. And it's not just conditions you're passionate about, it's feed the want, grow the need. And I'm telling you, the market is more ready for you than I've ever seen in 34 years. This is your time. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It is evolving, and evolving, growing. Governments are going to be looking for new strategies, corporations, families. Everyone wants to start. And the focus is on what I call the inner shield, building the shield up, what you in the industry called the immune system, I call the inner shield, because the immune system is very controversial in a lot of conversation. So building up the immune system or the inner shields, we need strategies. When we do this type of homework, we want people to identify 12 specific conditions in which to map out treatment formulas for them. Because if it's not producing a QQM result, it's either in the way we're doing it, the skills that we have, the tools we're using. What is naturopathic medicine? What is naturopathy? It's a massive toolkit. You guys have an incredible array of tools. What is a supplement? It's a tool. What is an IV? It's a tool. What is laser therapy? It's a tool. What is a colonic machine? It's a tool. It's how you take those tools with a certain set of skills in a step-by-step methodology that can produce a result that we can communicate improvement to patients qualitatively, quantitatively measurable. But it's also cool is when you have this mapped out, it is the single greatest value for anyone. Because when we sell something, what do we sell? If we sell our treatment formulas, you're going to get the greatest return versus sell my philosophy, sell my interpretation. People are looking for results. The primary reason anybody picks up the phone that says, I want a result. And if we don't produce a result, they're not going to be as excited. And that's one thing you are very good at, is producing QQM results. There is an overall patient strategy you want to map out. And I'm a huge fan of holding patients forever. How do we hold lifelong relationships? You know, it's amazing on how this industry, and here's part of the reality.
Hello?
Yes. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Did someone say hello to me?
Yes,
All right.
Andy, I didn't realize I was unmuted there.
Okay. Apologies. So when we look at what's actually happening within entire society, people want results. They want to improve. So I reviewed 6,000 inactive files. 96% of the 6,000 inactive files that we reviewed across Canada, all through the States, what do you think the number one reason that people stop coming? The number one reason that people stop coming? It was, what do you think? And I'm not asking for your comments at a point, just sit there and think about it, make your own little note. The number one reason is they felt better. And that amazes so many people who research their inactive files. They're saying, what? What this tells us, we're in an age of health improvement. We're not an age of optimal health. Your passion is helping people reach the highest source of health. People only want to improve. So you need to take a look at creating more of a strategy from take charge, whatever their issue is, dealing with their active, enhancing it with the goal to wellness. By no means, I don't want you to kill this. I want you to keep it alive. But don't be afraid, as after this, people feel better, there's a drop. That's why we move them into the maintenance phase. And then again, they come and see you, they don't feel that sick, but they move to the proactive phase. They have an issue, they move to the active phase. Your strategy is to move a patient on a life journey to get them here, but they're not going to go from take charge to wellness. It's got to be in steps. There's two types of health strategies. Number one, I'm a big fan of concepts. So most people don't understand what active health, we call it the river of health. At the top of the river, the water is clear. At the bottom of the river, the water is polluted. Your goal is to get people wherever they are, and they come and see you, to the source. And what the source means is not optimal health. It's where they're feeling a level of health that says, I feel really good. It's not what your interpretation is, it's what their interpretation. I'm not a fan of the word wellness because no one understands what it is. I try to get really crystal clear with statements, and having an analogy or something that you show patients with your active health strategies gets them to link a little bit more clear to what you're talking about. All of you need to build an active health strategy. All of you need to build deliverables that work people up the stream. The second particular area is proactive health. And then I'm sorry about that. Technology. Apologies. The second is called proactive health. It's the 4 seasons. This is where I'm saying the greatest opportunities are going to be with proactive health. The 4 seasons are, what do you do in the spring for the summer for the fall for the winter for the spring. This is the model. This is where I believe the future of health is going to be invested in. What we see happening more and more, and families are changing, and see what's exciting about all these times also when it comes to this. Traditionally, you have the seniors, the boomers, the X and the Y generation. Those are the 4 primary, and then of course you have the new generation behind it, the new X. What we actually happening right now, there's not only an evolving health consciousness, there's a shifting in the demographics. Primary market has always been women over 40, men over 50. Secondary market were women over 30, tertiary market, anyone in pain. Now it's women over 30, men at 49. Guys don't really get it the same way, but literally women over 30. But who's the secondary market? Women over 20. And what are they looking for? They're looking for holistic health. What are more and more people going to be exploring? The mind, the body, and spirit in proactive health. Proactive health, I want you to start understanding the word. I want to start using it. I want you to start promoting. It's like any terminology that's new. We don't use it a lot. Then afterwards, like platforms that we use in technology, proactive will be there. And as you develop those strategies, you're going to find more and more in demand, because we can't do this again. These deliverables in active and proactive health, 4 seasons in the river within the HAS strategy, that's the whole core center. What we want to do is to support them. These are the 7 primary systems. These are the most important systems we need to be efficient. You need to be able to map out your methodology, your tools, and your skills in each one of these. When you choose an EMR, you don't choose the tool for what it does, you choose the tool to support these. This is the first thing if I go in any clinic or I work with a new doc, it's let's set up the 7 primaries. For a new patient, what do you do before, during, and after? What does a health provider do? What does a technician do? What does a staff person do? What does a patient do? You need to not only approach this from physical space. Now I'm working with people who are doing this from the telehealth perspective. We're monitoring, like, what do we do with the new patient who's telehealth, return patient, checkup? How do we bill people? How do we schedule them online? What's the beginning end of day look like? What's the inventory? How do we, it's like a lot more people are moving from items on the shelf more to third-party providers like Fullscript. It's changing. The whole industry, the health industry is evolving and changing. That's what you're in the earliest stages of. There are 6 stages of flow to any clinic: contact, coming or going to, sitting, treatment, leaving, at home. We get judged in every single one. Again, you look at these from the telehealth perspective. For a lot of people, I'm a technical dinosaur. This stuff, I just can't get used to it, even though I use it. People will go online and they'll wait for you. And then what do? The going to, how do we sign in? What if it doesn't work out when I'm signing in? It freaks people out. Well, you have to address these. I judge you based on every single step. And one of the most important steps, of course, is the at home. And if things go great here, I come back into contact. What type of scripts do you have in contact? What's the theme while people are sitting? See, we don't call it the waiting room because that's a suck term. What do they do before they come and see you in the treatment? There's a reason why sitting is just before treatment in the physical office space, because I believe the sitting is the first step to healing. And I believe the first step to healing is a smile. So how can you get people to be calm, not meditated, but relaxed and smiling before they come and see you? The last experience in any clinic is depletion of funds and another appointment. Then they go home and then we're totally alone. And that's where the inner dialogue, which I will tell you, 87% of our self-talk is negative. We call it the gatekeep. It comes full bore. What are you doing in each one of these things? What are you learning from health providers who are already out there doing? In school, looking at somebody else's notes was cheating. In business, we affectionately call it networking. You need to look at these concepts, because with this, then you can say, okay, what is contact? I need to go take a look. So what do you say when there's a new patient? How do we communicate when there's with an irate patient? What do we do in an inquiry call? There's all kinds of really talented health providers out there that you glean little pieces. Don't try to duplicate anybody else's model. Create your own and pull the pieces that work for you. And that all leads to return visits. So what has to be addressed in each step and create a positive client experience? What determines your marketing strategy? The style of practice you will have, where you will work, and understanding the market share. You got to pay attention to the market. The market, there's literally 2 markets. There's a micro and a macro market. The macro market is the general market. The micro is within a certain radius of wherever you are. When it comes to a practice, it's one thing and I'm business, I'm logistics, I'm 101. You don't ever forget the human element. Access the heart to get to the mind. It's not through education. It's not through education. You learn so much that when you talk to us upon graduation, you talk a new language that we don't understand. In the classroom, I always do this little exercise. What's the benefit of blueberries? What's the benefit of blueberries? And people will say it's the antioxidants. So you're using your knowledge. I don't have that knowledge. When you ask me, what are the benefits of blueberry? I say they help your poop. The primary reason anybody picks up the phone is they're looking for a solution of what they have. And it is a human being. They're not a patient. They're not a file. They're not a client. Those are all labels we give. In the end, from the seniors to the children, they're all human beings. And the more that you impact, connect with a human being, the stronger and the more successful that you will have. What's your role with every patient? You see it up there in our 10-point checklist. Your role is to motivate, inspire, but literally empower. Empower someone. After they leave the office, they will end up doing what you want them to do. Motivate and inspire is not enough, but it's part of that strategy. Please, please, please never forget the human being. I haven't and never will. We are a solution for all humans. In marketing, you promote answers. Don't promote the problem. Negative marketing is not effective. And my primary rule to all of you, and I will call the CRA and any one of you that if I hear you do this, don't ever put down another profession. Don't put them down. Attacking other professions, you spend the rest of your life defending it. There's a place for everyone in the river of health. Eventually, you're just going to see holistic practitioners. You're not going to look at labels. We're looking for people who can help improve our health. We're not just looking for labels. And as your generation continues to grow and evolve, they're looking for holistic. They're looking for someone who can combine science and nature together. They're just not looking for people who just want to do one thing. It's a different world, and that world is moving forward. So please promise me you will never attack any of our profession. The challenge with some of the pioneers in our profession, that's how they positioned, and it worked well. And you are today paying the price for that because you're trying to recover from that. Ooh, the allopathic doctors, they didn't do right. Pharmaceuticals are horrible. Leave it alone. It does not serve you. Focus on your journey, on your passion. When somebody else puts something down, especially in a general setting in social media and public, don't go there. Don't do the dance. I want you just to hold it. Now, you want to talk one-on-one? Let's say whatever we want to say. But when it comes, the world tells people, that tells other people, tells other people. And you don't want to have to be spending all your time fighting. Focus on your passion and helping people. Outcome-based medicine is truly, truly what our goal should be, and you guys can hit it. You approach the market 5 ways at the same time. You approach the market going after niche. Niche markets are the best way to go after larger audiences. You can do generalists, throw everything out there. I got it. You have to do that too. But also niche, professionals, entrepreneurs, athletes, and you have the busy woman. As I said, ladies, it's the hottest market that's coming around the corner. Women are taking over the world, and I'm a guy saying that. It's an hourglass marketing strategy that I'm developing that said, basically, look at the message we give up top. In the center, busy woman. Down is all the things we offer. Conditions, pick 12 conditions. You're going to make you got to take risk. In business, you take a risk. What do you risk on? You risk on the conditions that you're promoting that there's a demand on, supply and demand. And we often say in business, choose your top 12. But when you choose them, understand why you chose them. So I had a student a number of years ago whose father died of cancer, and he was really passionate about cancer. And that's what he wanted to start with. And I said, that's a dangerous first step. It's because if you're just starting and I have cancer, do you think I'm going to come and see you before I look out for a person who maybe has 10 to 12 years experience plus? It doesn't mean you don't put your passions off the table. What it means is you position them in priority. Because over time, in 3 to 5 years, because the first 2 years when you graduate, it's about building your reputation. Over time, it will grow. You promote yourself as a generalist. You promote your designations. You promote therapies, tools, and techniques. You promote packages and programs. But just a tip, when you do programs and packages, what you want to do is to come up with some interesting topics. So I have a doctor in California who's doing phenomenal with this. And so sex was a big issue for a lot of people. You figure in these times there'd be a lot of hanky-panky going on, but for a lot of it, the stress and everything else, it's become an issue. And she wanted to create a program. So we created it with the title, Healthy in Body, Healthy in Bed. I have another doc here in Barrie who's incredibly a successful clinic, and they've been with me for 17 years. And their program is Healthy Baby, Happy Mom. So when you have different ideas, and that's why I want you to put on that entrepreneurial hat, it will take what you are really, really keen on delivering, and we have to add a little slant to it so that it connects with the audience. So you go after the market 5 ways at the same time. You need to look at all your marketing toolkits. You know, am I going to have a tagline? Am I going to have names, rap cards? How do we do our information in the rap card? What do we do to create marketing cards? I mean, there's a difference between a business card and a marketing card. Doing videos, providing some health tips. How do we effectively use social media? What does it communicate? The importance of PowerPoints, like on the River of Health, you should be able to use one slide and do an entire presentation between 5 and 30 minutes on that one slide. Could you? With a visual, you can. Newsletters, there's all kinds of different things, but these are all tools that promote deliverables. The foundation is understand what the market wants in marketing. Deliverables that fit the want. Tools that you market the deliverables with, and all of them link into a creating curiosity or nurturing relationship strategy. Then there's the world of administration, the finances. The single greatest weakness within most health providers, and whether they've been in practice 30 years or just starting out, is the finances. It's not about how many hours you work. If you want to generate $300,000 a year, work 48 weeks, 6,250 per week, 4 days per week, revenue per month, 6 hours a day, you have to generate $260 per hour. It has to be that clear. It's not that I'm working 15, 16-hour days and billing only 2. There's where the problem. And the reason why we're only billing 2 is because we're taking care of all the other things that we're learning entrepreneurially that we can learn proactively before you graduate. The amount you generate per billable hour defines your economic equation. Statements of profit and loss. You know what these line items are. What is cost of goods sold? What is gross profit? This is a key profit line called the costing profit. Are you knowing how to manage every single one of these categories? Net income, that's the tax position of any particular business. Did you know that? When you become self-employed, this particular world comes at you. Then you have the macro called the balance sheet. You know, why do the assets equal liability and equity? And we abdicate from these. We give them to other people to do. No stranger knows your business better than you. Anybody who looks at your finances and says how well you're doing, I would run for the covers. I get these from people and they go, so what do you think? I go, I don't know. What do you think? You need to learn and understand. I'm not asking you to become accountants. I'm asking you to become financial managers, financial understanding of yourself 365 days a year. These things don't go away. Be proactive. How do we do this? This is my most powerful tool. It's called a budget. You know, the power of budgeting is 500 a good figure or bad figure. We don't know, but like I said, my budget is $700. Is it a good or bad figure? Well, it's a good figure. Why is it a good figure? Because it says 200 less than budget. That's the power of budgets. And this isn't done. In 34 years, I have not walked into a single clinic that has an active budget. We want to build a financial communicator. You want to build an accounting model that addresses audit trail, your books, all the way down to the reports, statement of profit and loss, balance sheet, income and expense graph. Then you go to administration. Administration is budget versus actual, revenue stream analysis, and costing when it's time to do. Then analytics. Analytics are different tools that you look in administration, operations, marketing, and leadership. You know, do you have a sales tracker? Are you tracking how people hear about you? You have a client profiler? Are you looking at the type of people that are attracted to you? Are you having a client tracker? How do I hold a patient for 8 appointments? How do I maximize my time more efficiently? Are you setting up strategic plans and goals? That's the world of business. And yes, saying, gee, there's a lot of stuff there. If we take it in pieces, it's not that much. Yes, you're going to have to do the homework to prep it. But when it's done, you utilize it. On top of that, this is a home budget. You know, managing your finances at home as a student. I'm not making any money. That's not the point of budgeting. What the point of budgeting is starting to communicate with your finances. The single greatest weakness of health providers. And then when we set these all up, they become a lot more clear. They start becoming more curious. You do not have to wait until there's a negative in order to learn from it. Most of our lessons are learned from the negatives. I remember with my father, we had an argument one time and he said to me, why do you argue with me in everything that we do? And then when I said to him, I responded to him, I said, yeah, well, because I went to school and everything else. Yeah, it wasn't the smartest answer. But he said, I've climbed a ladder this high. Why don't you take it from where I am and go to the next level? I just told you I got 34 years experience. These are the things that people I see over and over in this profession are struggling with. You can start mastering them beforehand. Now, the administration section, again, for a lot of students, I said, this is where you focus on in your 4th year. Actually, when you look at the process, you should have everything done by April of your graduating year, because at that moment, you start coming live. You start tweaking. You should know by then where you're going to go. Hopefully, you'll have an idea and discussions about your contract that you have, that you eventually may have, or a space that you're looking at, or the job employment. Then you begin the world. You start letting people know you are coming. And there's no reason why the first week of your practice, the first few weeks you open up, there isn't 10 patients. There's only the reason there isn't is because we do not look at this portion of the business of health as to part of our passion. And it has to be a little bit. It does not take 40 hours a week to do all stuff. I've had people build multi-million-dollar clinics based on 3 hours a week where they focus on this. The rest of the time, they still do what they need to do. You do have the time if you make it a priority. As a student, I'm asking you 1 to 3 hours a week. You can incorporate 2 or 3 other people in a heroes group and work together on it. Success comes with a lot of other people. Help each other. What are the 5 reasons? There's a pledge. I've shared this with you that you will do no matter what happens in your personal and business life. I lost my father. I continued the work. What are you going to do? There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. What is going to be the thing that allows you to assess the time? It's never a cycle like this forever. It goes up, it goes down. In the good times, you put it in your wallet. In the lean times, you put it in your heart. That's where you find out where you are. I believe everyone in this profession, and I look at this, I believe every one of you on a 4 and 3 ultimate schedule, 4 days on, 3 days on, can make $300,000 a year. I believe you can do this. If you believe what you can do to make it happen, it's everything I'm sharing with you that you got to do now. And that's all this homework. I believe it can happen. I've done the math. And if you do the math, that's $265 per hour. Can you generate $265 per hour, 5 hours a day, 4 days a week, 4 weeks per month, 12 months per year? It takes time to get there. The first year, I will not, soften it up. It's hell year. It takes a lot of work to get there because you're building up your reputation. You're competing against other health providers in all kinds of profession with 10, 20, 30 years, but the client is there. And what's exciting about this time, the client base, the volume is going to expand exponentially, and your demographics is literally ready for a holistic approach. They're actually pursuing it now. You don't believe me? Go to the health food stores, go to the grocery stores where it's mainstream. Look at how people talk. It does define change. The 4 plans for long-term success. Build a financial plan that has a communicator. Build a marketing plan that you're following a strategy. Build an operational plan that optimizes time and efficiency with your deliverables, the 7 primary 6 stages. Build an organization plan, a strategic plan that allows you to follow and utilize a group of talent around you. It's an investment. For leadership, listen outside the bubble and adjust. Clarify and sort your deliverables and deliverers. Map out your business of health strategy models, proactively plan, actively manage. For operations, optimize your internal and external teams, constantly work outcome-based medicine, optimize efficiency, proactively plan, actively manage. In marketing, understand the micro and macro market, list deliverables to those markets and advertise, clarify your toolkit, proactively plan, actively manage. And administration, set up your business personal accounts, work with the accounting and administration, follow audit trail, and of course, proactively plan and actively manage. We've gone through this entire PowerPoint in a short period of time. And to let you know, I do provide courses and all this stuff. I do coaching. I got to give the little plug there. My passion has always been students. I've taught, like I said, at every single naturopathic school over my years. And for a number of years, we did a number of workshops for students at CCNM. I came there once a week in an evening and we would do our thing. So if you are definitely have interest, we can definitely talk about that. So now I'm going to stay open for the rest of our time to answer any questions you may have. Do you have any questions? Or did I answer it all so well?
I'll ask a question if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you. So initially my assumption is initially when you start your own business, and I mean, when you got your lease and all that set up, who do you recommend to hire as the most important people to help you run the business, considering you're running on a limited budget? Like in my understanding, it would be an accountant, a front desk person, maybe someone who would manage your social media account. Who else?
It's sort of like a loaded question. The first thing you need is to, well, the first thing you need, Hun, is to understand business yourself. So to me, the first investment, because if I hire someone for business, is a big dirty word, no one knows. Accountant, I don't need accountants until I'm making taxes, okay? Until I have a tax position. My point is and like I said, it's a load that said, get a business coach to begin with. Help set up your knowledge first. Understand. Then what you do is you delegate. Then when you get in practice, the very first person you try as quickly as possible to get is an assistant of some kind. It can be a high school kid. That's 3 hours a week. I've had people bring their moms, their aunts in. So to me, the beginning step is if you bring an accountant in, so what are you going to learn from the accountant? They don't know your practice. You know your practice. You need to learn the things in administration, operations, marketing, leadership. How will an accountant help you with getting a patient? They won't help you. How will some marketing, social media help you if you don't know what message you want to give out there? So my thing is look at the mirror, make an investment in the mirror, in that part of the skill set that you need to learn, and go that way first. Then you'll bring in your team of experts and delegate.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm making a plug saying, hey, if you get enough students together, I'm more happy to do my entire presentation over a weekend like this, and you get all my tools. You're going to get all the tools set up. We set up the books. We have those 4 pillars. It's a day on each. Over 2 weekends of your life, you can get it all. You can learn it all. And I go to next week, I'm teaching at Bastyr down in San Diego. The students there have put together, and I do it twice a year down there. I used to love going there, but the friggin' COVID stuff. Any other questions? Another area for a number of people, and we do have a couple of minutes left, is contracts. I've been part of discussions over 200 plus contracts. 90% of them are not win-win. Associate contracts, we think finance is our single greatest weakness as a profession, contracts is our most nastiest area. When you graduate, you have to be comfortable with talking and discussing and negotiating a contract, because most of them aren't win-win. And we definitely go through that through the program also. And give
Like
you a bunch of
contract,
examples.
oops, sorry, contract for a lease, you mean, or the contract when you like working for someone else?
Contracts for when you work for someone else.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's like associate contracts. I'm going to go work in this clinic. They're going to put me on as
Right.
an associate. I'm going to have my own business in them. You need to learn how to read a contract. I have people who have signed incredibly bad contracts, and there are no lockouts out of it. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't need to learn every lesson reactively, folks. Are there any other questions?
I have a quick question. I'm just wondering, do you have any recommendations on like books maybe that you can recommend for like recent grads or anyone interested in like the business side of?
There's lots of business books, and again, it's all part of the little questions. My challenge is how many people know the naturopathic profession? And I'm not trying to force you to make a decision. Oh, he's the only one that can do this. Yeah, right. There are people out there, but is there a book on this? There isn't a book. You can get all kinds of books on economics. You can get books on marketing. You go online and learn all kinds of courses. The challenge that I see over, where's the kindergarten book? Where's the fundamental basic book? And there isn't one. If you look at everything that was on the PowerPoint, this video that's available, and you review them, you won't find specific books on them. That's the thing. I mean, find me a book on the 7 primary systems. That just came from experience by working with hundreds of clinics that I came to understand. So my best advice, go meet doctors who are successful. There's living books. If you can hang out with some other people and pull ideas from them, it's the best way to learn this profession. And there are doctors who are in mentoring, who are mentoring individuals. I make a plug for a doctor called Sarah Wilson in Kingston, and she mentors individuals. I have doctors who are going to start mentoring students. That's how I met Dawson. He was with one of my doctors who was taught at the class. He was when I was teaching at CCM in 1998. They're now meeting with him. Reach out to a health provider. You won't find a book that covers this kind of stuff. The basics on accounting, you can find lots of books, but unless you want to understand debits and credits from a ratio standpoint, it's not going to benefit you. Any other questions?
How can we get in contact with you when we're ready to start our own business and we need a business coach? Like, would you give us your...
What year are you in?
I'm finishing my 3rd. So I have one more to go.
You don't, and remember, I use the word proactive. You don't wait until you're finished. My strong suggestion, and because I work with students again in the Southwest and in Oregon, they get together with 2 other people and they do homework together, and you can be given that homework. In the 3rd year, your focus should be all on marketing and operations and not administration. But by next September, your focus should be on leadership and administration. And by the end and get everything done by April 1st, and then you free yourself up to about positioning. If you wait until after you graduate to learn, it's going to take you an additional 2 or 3 years, because all the things you can be doing now, and yes, you can argue with me and say, we don't have the time. I disagree. You can make the time. That if
Right.
you allocate it, you can do things now. There's no reason to wait.
Okay. So would you provide your information to Dawson, like email something that we can contact you for
Right.
like private coaching and stuff?
Right. Well, the biggest thing is, I would say, Dawson is going to help me to try to promote a workshop.
Okay,
Online workshop where I cover absolutely everything. As I said,
perfect.
you'll have examples, you'll have templates, you're going to have the knowledge, and we'll go through the whole thing. We have a full day on operations and a full day on marketing. And
Okay.
if there's interest, if there's 12 students interested in that, then we put it on. And that's how I do it. I don't try to force it. I don't put dates. I say, okay, grab me 10 students, 12, and we'll do it. So if you find 10
Okay.
students or 12 students who want to spend a couple of days learning this stuff, you will get everything I have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Was this okay? Did you like the information? Was it, it's
That
like,
was
yeah,
superb. Thank you so much.
you're very, very welcome. So do me a favor, prove me right. It's been a long time since I've been back to CCNM, so come on, folks, get me back in there. My passion is the students. That's the whole thing. The more proactive we are, the better the whole industry is going to grow. And I've never been more excited about the profession that I am now. This is our time, but you know what? If you don't seize it, guess what? Who do you think is the greatest, newest competition for naturopath? And I would love someone to answer that. Who do you think the next level of competition is coming from? Last point. Who do you think is where it's going to come from?
Like the integrative clinics.
It's again, like, so, you know, right now you've all heard of functional doctors, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So they've been around, but to me, like, they're okay. They're actually losing traction. Again, the next evolution overall for the health industry is going to be biological medicine, which is another fancy word for really good naturopathic medicine. But biomed, keep an eye on it. That's where the next big look is going to come from. But on the other hand, you know who your biggest competition is coming around the corner? It's called nurse practitioners. The nurse practitioners are about to come in a big, big way, especially down in the States, but I feel it also will happen here because the allopathic doctors are happy to refer to them.
What the issue with them is, and I'm only talking because I'm a nurse and I was in NP master's program and I end up just finishing my master's instead of finishing NP as well. And I was debating if I should go back. But the issue is, especially here in Canada, if you don't have a doctor that you're willing to work with and who will sign in under everything you do, you pretty much in the boots, like, you know what I mean?
Right,
And
but
also you can charge the OHIP. So you pretty much working for a salary.
Well, it's again, there more and more nurse practitioners are going to be starting jobs. NDs are looking for nurse practitioners. You're seeing more and more. I'm saying it's going to be the next group
Yeah.
that's going to go toe to toe with the naturopathic profession for
Yeah.
patient opportunities. They're going to be the next wave. And it's not about OHIP, it's about people paying out of their pocket. People are happy to pay out of their pocket. NDs, for the majority, they only get a certain amount of insurance. So people are going to be paying out of their pocket as to who they're going to pay. What you want to do is saying, you can pay me too.
Right.
All right.
Can I ask you, so you said right now our focus should be on marketing and operations. What do you mean by operations?
7 primary systems, the 12
Okay.
deliverables, the 6 stages of flow, optimal schedules.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think I've overstayed my
Yes,
time.
we
by 8
learned a
minutes.
lot from you.
Apologies. That's okay.
Thanks.
So we good?
I think we're good, Andy. Thank you very much for doing the talk. And just to give a heads up to everybody, I think I posted it in the chat, but this was recorded And we will be posting these slides also following, just in case if we weren't able to write as quickly. And also in addition, like Andy said, I'll try to set up some form of interaction where we can commit more time to this form of improvement, and we'll go from there. And by the way, in the chat, there's also a link to a raffle if you wanted to potentially win one of two $25 Uber Eats gift cards. So that's in the chat there if you wanted to go through that link. But yeah, I think we're good, Andy.
All right, great. Have
Thank you,
yourself a good
Dawson.
one.
This was really great. Thank you for putting this together.
I'm glad we could have a good turnout to see Andy's insights. It's great.
Recall Dawson, let's get a date. Let's get 2 days going. Take care.
Set something
Bye-bye.
up. Thank you. See ya.